Hello Taurus, and welcome to your in-depth monthly horoscope for July 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the standout details to look out for initially, but please stay with me. I will then explore in much greater detail all the ins and outs, particularly relevant to your sign. If you are a returning visitor to my channel, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new here, it's great to have you with us. I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to share any comments, I try to interact with each one. This is very much a community. If you would like to get your free written daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, please see the link beneath this video to subscribe. Now, your ruler is of course Venus, and Venus continues its extended journey through your fourth house, very much to do with your immediate environment. So whether it's to do with family gatherings or decorative changes in terms of where you live, I feel that that is going to be important. Perhaps it's a new addition to the family or moving all together. But Venus does go into a retrograde on the 23rd. But just to stress that Jupiter, the planet of fortification, of abundance and of expansion, does remain in your sign for the whole of this month and forges a terrific link with the Sun across the first 5 days. So I can't wait to tell you more about that. But also, Mars is going to be moving into a very lively, charismatic and also alluring part of your situation on the 10th. So please stay with me for more. If you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast, what you can do by grappling with more serious astrology is provide so much knowledge and understanding of life's patterns that can guide you in your future moves. If you give me 3 pieces of your personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This will give you intimate understandings of the opportunities you have, but also some of the more challenging patterns that may have repeated themselves. And so a better knowledge of these can help to guide you forwards more successfully. And in my 30% off package, you can also get your 12-month personal forecast, totally unique to you, both these charts, and will give you searing insights. Please see the link below for more. However, if you don't know your time of birth, my solar package based on the Sun can still give you a considerable extra understanding that goes beyond this zodiac broadcast. So Taurus, as you make your way into July, so the Sun and Mercury are in an exact conjunction known as cazimi. Now for you, they're in house 3, which is how we think on an everyday basis. Also to do with technology. It can be how we learn things, but also how we share our skills and ideas too. So it's very, very bright, very vibrant, and that's right on the first day. So wonderful introduction. Also, as I mentioned before, there's a glorious link between the Sun and Jupiter. This is one of the most fortunate in astrology. If you do have something you want to share with people, whether it's an idea or something you're inspired by, your passion, enthusiasm, but also self-belief could prove to be very persuasive across the first 5 days of this month. But of course that does encompass the full moon. And the full moon occurs in the sign of Capricorn. And in the moon's journey, Capricorn is where it's at its weakest. But for you, this is house 9, your higher ideals, your philosophies, but also the part of your nature that may want to break free of those everyday routines that the Sun and Mercury are dominating and give you a taste for travel, being a bit more adventurous or even independent. If there's parts of your life that you do want to shake up and reform, but someone close to you would prefer to maintain the status quo, that could cause some tensions. However, Saturn is pretty supportive. Saturn, of course, gets a bit of a bad rap but it's in the part of your situation to do with your longer term plans. So there could be a conversation with a friend or an associate or an advisor about how you can reconfigure your thinking. This would be a great time, for example, to write a business plan, because your mind is going to be very sharp. But not only is the Sun and Mercury in that bubbly and quick moving third house, you do have your ruler and Mars in the sign of Leo. Now, this brings a great deal of pride into focus, but for you, pride in your home. So the third house can be siblings and neighbours, the fourth house, family, more specifically security, emotion, and so on, protectiveness. Mars can be a bit of a grump in house 4, but I feel that what the combination can do is give you a lot of drive to make any changes to your home life if that's what you want to achieve. So whether it's redecoration, it is moving altogether, or it's some kind of adaptation to your existing abode, or even just enjoying your outdoor space, or getting out and about in nature, where you can have a combination of good conversation but tranquil environment. That would be a good way of embracing these initial energies at the start of this month. But on the 10th, Mars moves into your sister Earth sign of Virgo. It's going to be there for 6 weeks. This is going to give your sex appeal an amazing boost. You're really going to feel that much more attractive and alluring. I know, is it possible? But it is, because it's all about really feeding that self-esteem in deep within you. And I think that can be given a boost by Mars. Now, it is going to be challenged in week 3 by the rather dampening energies of Saturn, but more about that shortly. On the 11th, Mercury makes its way out of your third house, where it really is at ease, and it moves into the sign of Leo too. Mercury in Leo has quite a lot of conviction about conveying its ideas. So if there are things that are important to you in terms of the emotional dialogue of your life, whether it is with people close to you, or it is with a family member or your extended family grouping, or perhaps even if you want to open up to someone for some counselling, Mercury in the 4th house will really help you to channel that energy successfully. But from the 12th through to the 20th, Uranus, which has been a mischief maker, if we're honest, as well as an opportunity creator, since he's been in your sign 5 months in 2018, since March the 9th, 19, Uranus has been stirring things up. It's been a very provocative influence, pushing you to try things out that are different when you're a sign that has a reputation for preferring to stick with what you know. But from the 12th to the 20th, the Sun in the thinking part of your situation and Uranus in your sign, so your individual manifestation of your ideas, are on absolutely belting terms. So this could give you a huge amount of enthusiasm to begin something afresh, or to review something and bring it up to date, try some novel approaches, but generally very, very bright influence, which peaks on the 14th. However, from the 17th to the 23rd and peaking on the 22nd, the mighty Sun goes into opposition with the tiny but potent Pluto. This is one of the toughest transits that goes on each year, to be honest. Pluto, of course, is reversed back into the sign of Capricorn, house 9 for you, about expanding your horizons, knowledge, philosophy, can be to do with legal matters too. But if there is something that needs to be discussed across those days, your sense of conviction can be extraordinary, but that actually can be an issue. People who have Sun opposite Pluto in their natal charts very often get caught up in power battles. It's a desire to dominate in some way or another. Sometimes this can be manifested in a very subtle way, passive aggression, or Machiavellian type of attitude, so doing things that aren't particularly nice but out of sight. But because these are going across your 3rd and 9th house cusp, this could be to do with travel, or it could be to do with an exchange around a philosophy. So if you're wanting to get your ideas out there, your drive to do it can be extraordinary, but also you can arouse an enormous amount of opposition by being too forceful. So just be conscious of that. You could also encounter someone who tries to be too forceful to you, even if you are not feeling that that's what you deserve. So keeping healthy boundaries for all of us will be important in this segment of the month. But on the 17th, another really key event of the month, because the true North Node finally leaves your sign. It's not going to be back for 17 years. And if you review what the last 18 months has meant for you, I'm hoping that it's helped you to convey your individual strengths to people in a more compelling way. But now it moves into a very psychological sector, and it's going to be there for the next year and a half. And the way to work with this is to not fight it. So however bright and buzzy and extraordinary the energies of Jupiter and Uranus and the North Node in your sign have created, the North Node now is asking you to think in a much deeper way and to get a clearer understanding of the more subconscious part of your nature and critically of your behaviours. However, the 17th also sees a new moon, but it's a new moon just broadly opposite Pluto, but it does forge a really nice link with Neptune. In fact, the Sun and Neptune are in a really quite beautiful angle in week 3 of this month. Neptune's in the part of your situation to do with the more spiritual aspirations you have in terms of your higher purpose, the 11th house. But Neptune, of course, is a very hard energy to behold. It's very ephemeral and mysterious. Perhaps around your friendships, there could be somebody that you're having conversations with that you do find to be quite inspiring, but you don't necessarily quite understand what is there in terms of any substance. But you get a chance to grapple with the substance from the 23rd when the Sun powers into its home zone. So we had the moon, the full moon, in its weakest part of its cycle on the 3rd, and on the 23rd we had the Sun shimmering into its strongest sign, where it will be for the following 4 weeks. This for you is the 4th house, so it's really emphasizing, along with the North Node moving into the 12th, the need to stay in touch with what gives you a sense of peace, tranquility, your environmental needs emphasized. You may find that you do want to retreat a little bit with this transition. And Venus, your ruler, also goes into retrograde in the same sector through to the 4th of September. Perhaps you have had some people around, you can be a brilliant host, and perhaps you've done some cooking or entertaining or shared your abode, and you may continue to do that from the 23rd, but I feel that with Venus inverting, it needs to be with the people that you really feel at ease with. In a romantic context, I feel that particularly with Mars going into an opposition in week 3 of this month, across your 5th, that's where you want to sparkle, and 11th house sectors, that's your future plans, and Saturn can be restrictive. If there is a friendship or a romantic alliance that isn't quite working, I think you might believe it is to do with Venus retrograde. I think it could be a lot to do with Mars opposite Saturn. What Venus retrograde asks you to do is to reflect. If you are trying to do some kind of transition around a property, like a home improvement scheme, perhaps to sell it on for a profit, just be aware that with Mars in a retrograde in this area, things could slow down a little bit. However, on the 28th, Mercury does move out of that 4th house, which can be quite tender, even though it's in the grand Leo, into the very precise sign of Virgo, but guess what? That shares your earth triplicity. So for you, your bubbliness and outgoingness can actually be revived as Mercury joins up with Mars at the end of this month, and Mars escapes from the rather limiting clutches of Saturn. But your social life could be a little bit of a disappointment in week 3, or will it be around a romantic situation? But I think clarity will start to show itself as the month draws to a close. So the first 2/3 of this month, Virgo, is very busy, very active, lots of buzzy energy and lots of opportunities. But I feel that the last phase of the month is much more about nurturing that part of your nature which needs to feel secure, needs to feel nurtured, and needs to feel very comfortable, but particularly in your immediate environment. It's been a real pleasure being with you. I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Take care and goodbye for now.